YouTube! So today I'm going to be talking about the difference between manipulation and masking. And I thought that this would be a wonderful topic because I did a TikTok on it and I wrote it down in my notes and I haven't made a video in like 2 months. So I'm ready. Now it's not planned, so this is once again another relaxed format. I want to talk about the difference between masking and manipulation. So I've had a lot of people since my coworkers found out that I am autistic via the interwebs, and other people have asked me, that's stuff that I do all the time, and I'm neurotypical. And so I realized, oh my freaking god. So there's neurotypical masking, there's neurodivergent, or I will just say, for this case, autistic masking, and then manipulation. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this, fellas. So here we go. Essentially, manipulation is something around the lines of sort of trying to maneuver things to where it benefits you, or just changes the situation from what naturally would have happened, whatever, blah blah blah. Okay, when neurotypical people mask, it seems a little bit more like manipulation because they don't seem to be doing it for any real great fantastic self-protection reason like autistic people mask. So a neurotypical person will mask going into an interview. They will dress all nice, even if that is the only outfit they have that is nice enough to interview in. Even if their house was a freaking wreck, even if they hadn't taken a shower in 3 days, they took a shower today because they're going on that interview. They're gonna speak real proper and they're gonna walk in there and they're gonna wear less jewelry and nude nails and just kind of look very presentable and very professional. They're gonna walk upright and they're gonna shake the interviewer's hands. I failed my interview, by the way. Anyway, so they're gonna shake the interviewer's hand and they're gonna say hello and they're gonna speak very, very well about themselves. They're gonna have all this stuff mapped out. That to me is not so much the same as what I would say autistic masking is. So everyone masks, everyone does it. However, autistic people do it in different ways, to different extremes, and it seems more like a protective measure. So a neurotypical person goes into the interview because what do they want? They want the job. So they're manipulating the situation so that they seem like the perfect employee, the perfect choice for this person to pick. Is it a survival thing? Sure. Because everyone needs a job. Everyone needs to work. You gotta make more money. It's just okay, well that's fine. That is what it is, okay? Everyone has to interview to get the job. I'm talking to an allistic person, for example, and they say, well, doesn't everyone do that? Everyone does that. I mean, I did it for my interview. So now I have to explain autistic masking. My autistic masking is, for example, yes, I would go into the interview. I try to do the same thing, but it's still going to be unfreaking canny. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't know how to communicate with them. I got so excited in my last interview. I got so excited that I could not sit still. I could not sit still. I was like, I would love it if you guys I would love to work for you guys. What is that? What is going on? So it's not like that. It's literally, it's not like that because neurotypical people don't just sit there so giddy oh yeah, please, yeah, no, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. No one's gonna I was yeah, I actually I did this one time and it was really cool because I got to learn this and it was blah blah blah, and I'm talking and talking and talking. It was just a front desk position. I literally just would have been answering the phones. Anywho, so so an autistic person would go in and they try their best, but then people are still going to notice there's something off. There's something ain't quite right up there, right? So it's not like we're succeeding completely. But then you have the neurotypical person and they'll get the job because, they're just like every other person. And really at the end of the day, they're just looking for your average Joe. They're really not looking for the most talented, wonderful person, because those are the people who they leave in the dirt and don't ever give a raise to. Don't be too phenomenal. So basically, they'll be like, oh, we mask all the time. Yeah, sure. But then when you get the job, you don't really try. You don't pretend to be happy. You don't pretend to do anything. You just are yourself, right? You don't really have to try very hard at making these relationships. You just go and you do and you exist and you go home and then you come back again, right? And you're the same way every day unless your day is really, really bad or really, really good. Now, as an autistic person, we go to the interview and let's say we get the job. And it's pretty evident that we're not like everyone else. In my case, I'm really excited, really ecstatic, pretty bubbly, okay? High energy. Everyone else is pretty like that, right? But I can't quite get there. I can't quite, no matter how hard I try, I can't be like that with everyone else. But in other environments, I'm like that, and everyone else is really, really bubbly and all this stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, that is fantastic. But the point is, we have a harder time assimilating. It's so weird. It's so weird because it is an assimilation issue, which is what neurotypical people do all the time. They go into a place and they assimilate, and it's perfect. And sure, that's masking. But they actually accomplished what they came there to do. And this isn't going to make sense. It's going to seem very like, well, you just said the opposite. And I can see that, and it's so hard to explain. But whenever I would have a job, it's like everyone just kind of got along, and if they didn't get along, it was just kind of like, oh well, that's them. I don't go over there. But their moods are all generally the same. And the people whose moods were different, like the people who really stood out, a lot of them were neurodivergent in some sort of way, maybe ADHD or something, and they just like it was just like different, or OCD or something. In the situations where like I had situations where basically my masking has been for survival. So I wasn't like other people, so I had to learn to be like other people. The older I got, the more it became obvious that I was different, but it was already pretty obvious when I was a little kid. I wouldn't talk to other people, like my coworkers, like I just wouldn't talk. And so that made me stand out. And the fact that I didn't know that you're supposed to talk to people in order to bond with them because they'll see you as weird if you don't do that was already too late. Like it was already too late. I didn't understand that I really needed to talk to people. And so a lot of my years was like that, especially when I started working outside of the first job that I had. So I learned to mask, and that masking is me talking to people. That masking is me talking to people about certain topics that they like. The masking, and does it really benefit me? It does, like in a survival way. I'm not really getting anything out of me talking to people. It actually takes away from me because that is not my natural thing to do. It's very draining, and I get burnt out from doing that because it is a skill that I've had to learn, that I've had to try to perfect in order to stay employed, in order to make acquaintances. Not saying they're going to end up being my friends, but just so that people don't think I'm a freaking like weirdo or a psycho or something. Those are all steps that I would have to take so that I would just survive there, so that I just wouldn't get fired, because we all know, me and you already know that your managers will fire someone if they really don't like them, if they really feel like they're just like not catching on, or if they feel like they're just not much of a talker. It really depends on where you work, but yeah, they'll fire you. They'll just let you go, and if they don't let you go, what they'll do is they'll cut back your hours. That way they don't have to actually tell you you're fired. That's my favorite. When you see a neurotypical person masking, it's usually to manipulate someone. But like for an autistic person, just like me shaking right now, like I don't shake in public for them. Like I don't shake in public only for them, like for their benefit, because it will make them extremely uncomfortable if I was shaking like this. Because they're not going to feel comfortable enough to ask me why I'm shaking. I might ask someone, but that's because I don't have that like fear of like social, like me like just saying something like that. Just like, why are you shaking like that? I mean, I turn into a joke. I wouldn't just be like, why are you shaking like that? But I literally just be like, why are you shaking? But then I'd also understand because, like, I shake. So it's just kind of like, what? But, like, doing this. And then me not speaking, the way that I speak, like, so fast, and, like, I just kind of blend the things together and, like, try to say it as fast as possible, just get it out of my mouth. Me not talking that fast is also masking. Every single thing that I do is literally, not everything, but when I'm like at school or at work or whatever the case is, if I'm explaining something, I'm usually translating it in a neurotypical format. Like they do like it to be more vague. So I will try to be slightly more vague, because if I'm not more vague, then I won't shut up. Just like right now. Like not asking a lot of questions. That's me masking. Like literally, like I need a lot of information, but people get so frustrated. So I'll just be like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. And then I'll just mess up or something. Autistic masking is just so different. I use this as an example in the video, just like, oh, I couldn't hide my face because that's how I really felt about her, and I just couldn't hold it together. Like, I would just be like, like, I think I'm gonna sharp my britches. I'm at work. Like, I'm at work. I can't just say that. But that's something that I say, and it's like, I think about saying it all the time. Like, I'm gonna piss my pants if I don't go to the bathroom right now. I'm gonna sharp myself. Like, and they're like, well, you do not hold back saying stuff like that. Like, you really don't. You really don't. Like, because you're not thinking those thoughts. Because those are not normal thoughts. Like, who's thinking that? Who's thinking that? Like, when I'm holding back, like, so, like, and you know what happens? Like, when you say stuff like that, they're like, oh, no couth. I make that joke. No couth at all. Uncouthed. Uncultured. No couth. So, it's just kind of like, you try to, like, do things for other people. So, like, and it doesn't, like, once again, it doesn't benefit me other than, like, I get to keep my job and I get to show up to work tomorrow. Like, people will still want me to come and help them. Like, they won't just kick me out for being weird. That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, ooh, she pissed me off and I had to really hold my tongue and I had to be really professional around her. I don't mean it like that. I literally mean just, like, I'm fighting for my life. Like, all of my impulses are being shoved down, like, at all times. Like, wanting to, like, break something, like, you know, and I'll just have to wait until, like, someone looks away and then I'm just, like, trying to break it. Like, it's just, like, stuff like that. Like, those, like, what? Like, I don't even know if I can fully explain it, because I always have to think, like, okay, well, there's, like, autistic parents, like, watching me right now, and they're like, well, what is she talking about? And they'll just end the video saying that, like, autistic people are just fighting to survive and just shoving down. I'll think of another thing. I like to stare at the lights, like, in the ceiling. But what does it look like when you do that? Okay, watch me. Imagine your coworkers staring at the ceiling like that. What are you gonna think? What are you gonna think? All right, we got another one. Okay. Staring off into space, like this. If someone's telling me something, I would not look at them, right? I naturally would not look at them because I want to process what they're saying. I'm going to look away and I'm going to talk to them and I'm just going to stare at the floor the whole time. But if I'm looking at you, that is something I am intentionally doing, and it is really, really uncomfortable. But I thought that it was uncomfortable for everyone, and I thought that everyone was just trying just as hard as me to look at each other. But that's not true. Evidently, it naturally happens to them. But I don't want to look at you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to look at you, honestly, but I will, because that makes you comfortable. You think that I'm listening to you because we are making eye contact, and so that is why I do it. But it's really uncomfortable, and I can't think as clearly if I am looking at that person. That's all I can talk about now that I will be able to edit and upload today, because I have been so behind with uploading YouTube videos and stuff. But I will try to I'll try to put up another video soon. But I really appreciate you guys being here with me. If you guys do want to hang out, I do stream every night on Twitch. So I don't really know why this had to happen at this point, but basically my mic in my hand died while I was recording still, and I was talking like this whole time. But I just wanted to tell you guys thank you so much. If I had let this stop me from uploading this video, it would have been like another month, honestly. So I'm just trying to stay consistent. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.